Hello, everyone. This is going to be not as long as the other night because I know that Melissa Jade wants to do a live. She'll be alive at about 30:30. So I'm not going to make it ridiculously long tonight, but I'm just going to hang out for a while, and we can not be too long and not take too much time away from her because I don't like to really go live when other people who I watch are live, and that I know everyone else watches are live, you know what I mean? So I like to be good when because I guess this was just a slapdash thing. Yeah, I should have checked more if other people were going live, but I guess it's just a nice place to hang out for a while and see what's going on. Well, I guess tomorrow I have a Spanish lesson, and that'll be interesting. I've been learning Spanish for about a year now, and it's been a very interesting experience. It's a The thing about it is I did it in high school, but I just stopped doing it at some point before I finished, and I kind of lost touch with it. But I guess learning it again, you pick up a lot of things that you've learned in the past. You remember them almost, and it's good. So I hope everyone's having a nice day, afternoon, morning, evening, whatever, wherever you are in the world. And today's just going to be an open and general chat, really, open discussion, and I I'm in a really good mood. I had my probation work the other day, and hey, Connie, nice to see you. I had my probation work the other day, and I'm on probation for a totally non-violent offence, which is just for having possession of mushrooms, magic mushrooms. I got pulled over at a traffic stop and was found with mushrooms in the car. I wasn't trying to sell them or anything. I was going to take them when I got home. And I forgot that I just had them lying out there. So I have to do some community work, which isn't the end of the world. I have to pay a little fine and do some community work, and I'm gaining a lot from it. And I think it's very rewarding doing work for the community. And what I'm doing is I'm like serving food to the homeless and things like that in the homeless shelter. Yeah, oops. Yeah, it was an oops. Yeah. So I'm serving food to the homeless. I'm doing things like that. Uh, because I'm going to be on it I'll probably be on it till October at this point. But if I change my days, because I'm only doing it 1 day a week at the moment, if I change it, I can do it as much as I like, really. So if I want to finish it earlier, which I probably do, I could just up it to 2 days a week and I could have it done by like September, early September. So that would be nice because my birthday is in early September and I don't fancy having to do that on my birthday. Not that I hate it, it's just like I have to get up really early and I don't usually have to get up that early with my job. I'm very lucky to not have to because I'm in the music business. People generally don't have to get up that early. Yeah, exactly, Connor. You're right. I get it done because it isn't hell. It really isn't hell. You don't break your back or anything, and you get enough breaks. You know what I mean? And the September 13th is my birthday. I was born originally on Friday the 13th, which is pretty funny. Yeah, but yeah, it'll be a. Hopefully, I'll be able to get off it by then. That'll be a nice treat because because they change the details. So like, if I'm on it for a while, I might not be at the same place. So at the moment, I'm at the same place mostly, but there's other types of work that you can do, like mainly manual work, like basically landscaping duties and things like that, and that is can be quite a bit much. That was my daughter's birthday. That's past. Oh my god! Yeah, I think we've talked about this, Connie. I think we've had this discussion in the chat before about that being the date. But I'm so sorry that your daughter passed away. That must be awful. I mean, that's just I couldn't. I mean, I don't have kids yet, but I couldn't imagine having to bury my own. That's like that. That's one thing I wouldn't wish on anyone. It's so not right, not normal at all. So sorry. Hi, Clumsy. Nice to see you. I'm really glad you made it, and I'm really appreciative of you for introducing me to, you know, that community. No, we're not going to talk about that. She was a friend of mine, and then she started making lies about me and going all psycho. And this was about probably 2 years ago, if that, maybe more. And that's the story. So I'll not be answering anything more about that because that's what I've seen. You know, so in the past I've gotten close to people and they've stabbed me in the back. You know what I mean? But luckily now I'm close to people who who don't who don't stab me in the back essentially, because what it was with the is I was friends with Green Thing. You know what I mean? And but then it it became weird, you know what I mean? And I had to pull away, and then things were said that weren't true, and that's just basically it, you know. And that's why I kind of pulled away from the whole Slab City community thing, because people, I guess, there are some good people there. Don't get me wrong. Like I know you don't like him, but I like Sam very much, and Sam is a good guy in my opinion. And there are some good people there, but it's just too much drama for me. I try to stay away. What that's pretty yeah, that's pretty crazy, to be honest with you, because I wouldn't even know where to find things like that. And to be honest, that's not me at all. That's really not what I'm into. I'm obviously interested in serial killers and true crime and things like that, but there's a difference between, you know, having an interest in investigations and outright being into that sort of thing. That you know, I think when people say they're into true crime, people make assumptions about you, I guess, and that I guess would fall. And also the fact that I'm a pagan as well. People want to throw a load of things onto me. So let's like not talk about that anymore. Yeah. Stroll driving home. I'm chat and we'll be home. I'll hop on my friend. That's great, clumsy. Be careful. Just clear as she talks about. Yeah. You know, because I guess I always saw her as almost like a mother or grandmother figure, but I guess she saw me as a partner. You know, and I don't think that could ever work out because of the age difference. You know, like she's in her like 60s, and you know that's just not how I saw her. You know, so there's a lot of things that, yeah, exactly. So you understand. Yeah. That's where all that stuff comes from, and it's that's partly why, not just that, but other people have said and things in the past. Like that's partly why I would like to film some of the rituals I do, so that people can actually understand what it is that I do, and know that it doesn't involve naked women on an altar and like sacrifices and violence and things like that, because it doesn't. It just involves chants and quartz crystals and things like that, you know, and chants in Greek and things like that. So that's essentially what it is, yeah. But I appreciate you for coming in and for asking me about it, because you know, and it gives me the chance to set the record straight, because I guess I never had the chance to do that. Yeah, and herbs as well. Yeah, my sage. Yeah, I like to burn my sage. Yeah. Uh, Speaking of that, I need to order more sage. It's everything's a bastard to come at the moment. It's like I'm waiting and waiting for everything to come. Like everything I've ordered takes forever. You know, it's annoying. Something really needs to be done about the whole postal services in this country. That would be awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of people have said that they would like to see that. Yeah, that's just the thing with the Slab City community, though. It's like there's some good people, but like a lot of people in there are fucking batshit crazy. Uh, and that's not in Slab City itself. That's in the online community. I think, you know. I think for the most part, the people who actually live in Slab City are fairly normal to me. You know, because you got to remember where I come from and the background where I come from, where I basically grew up in places like that. You know, because I'm a gypsy. So that's very normal to me. Except it was never in a desert. Oh, I'm in the States at the moment, Connie. I've been here since I was 18. I've travelled from country to country. I was born originally in Ireland, but I grew up in England mainly. and I've spent time in France as well. So I've been all over the show. So I'm here permanently now, though. I'm not like I'm like a permanent resident and citizen. Actually, I got my citizenship last year. But yeah, it's good for me to be able to set the record straight on these things. Well, yeah, I don't. It's a shame about some of the people in there because it's a shame about Stella dying, I suppose, and it is a shame about her dying, of course, and she was always nice to me. So, and okay. I didn't know that, Jay. Awesome to hear. I can send you some sweet grass and some lavender. I also have a bit of sage. Thank you very much, Clumsy. I would really appreciate that because it is needed. Because for a long time I used to use tobacco for it, but I don't really like the smell of it anymore. So it's not good for it. The ambience, you know. So that's why I don't like to use it. But yeah, sage is perfect for it. And I always come in smelling like a chicken dinner almost. It's pretty funny because, you know, you put the sage on the chicken and all that. It's nice to have sage in your food. I like it. Gives it some really nice seasoning. And yeah. Yeah, I need to get more because I use a bell as well to start it. And that's. So in a sense, you can call it it's almost like a black mass, almost what I'm doing. But there's a specific name for the ceremony I perform. It's called the ceremony of the recalling. But within that, there is room for me to implement certain things. Like mainly, what I do is I do aeonics, which is a form of alchemy essentially that's about changing society, shifting society in your own into a shape that benefits you essentially and benefits what I want, the agenda I'm pursuing, and what everyone in my kind of religion, I suppose, is pursuing, and that's done through a variety of ways. That's done by influencing society in many different corners. It could be politically, it could be, you know, through entertainment, through music, through whatever, you know, but influencing it nonetheless, you know, but doing it in a very discreet way where it's not noticed, essentially. So it's done under everyone's nose, essentially. And we don't have this grand, sinister agenda, essentially. We just like society to be more about, you know, focusing on going back to how things were, you know, pre-Christian times, you know, so pagan days. So that's essentially what we'd like to see, and I very much like that to be a reality one day, and slowly but surely, I think it will, as I think atheism is dying on its arse, to be honest with you, because I think people are bored of it, if you ask me. I was never an atheist myself. I was an agnostic for a long time. And but then I had obviously my experience in Ireland, which I've spoken about many a time, about the cloaked figure that I saw, and that kind of opened me up to all that, you know, because I wanted to believe in it all for a long time, but I just needed that proof. It's just the type of person I am. I'm all about if I haven't seen it, it's not real to me. You know what I mean? But because I saw what I saw, and I was completely sober at the time, and mentally sound. That it just opened up a whole new world to me. It changed my perception on reality, and as a person, it changed me greatly. I think my personality changed as a result. For the better or for the worse is obviously up for the public to decide. People who've known me from before and after, but I think it's for the better. And I think, honestly, there's this big scandal going on in the back home at the moment with this presenter called Philip Schofield. He's like a family friendly presenter, and he's been accused of having an affair with a. It's Avery. Hello, Avery. Basically, there's this presenter who's like a family friendly presenter back in the UK, and he's been accused of having an affair with a homosexual affair. And this guy's like, everyone knew him to be straight for years, but there were rumors, obviously, and he had an affair with a much younger runner on the show, and people have done some bigger deeping, and apparently he knew this runner since he was 10 years old, since the lad was 10 years old. So it's like through this theatre company that he was a patron of. So it's all getting a bit fishy here, So it's he's part of a company called ITV, and about 10 years ago there was a scandal at the BBC about the paedophile Jimmy Savile. So now it's ITV's turn for the scandal. Hi, Frank. Nice to see you. And so that's what the news is back home. So that's blowing up in the press. Dodgy Phil, yeah. I'd heard rumours. I mean, my uncle worked in television production for years, and he'd heard things about Philip Schofield, but he hadn't heard anything like sexual about him. He just heard that he was a bit of a dick, to people, and he was quite shocked when he heard. But yeah, I always thought there was just something off about the guy. He seemed fake to me. You know what I mean? He just seemed fake. It's always like the real people, the people who kind of say what they believe and cut from the script, who always get kicked off of mainstream TV anyway. They're always the best types of people. And it's like these reality shows now, they all do these background checks of people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want people who are squeaky clean on these things. You want people who've got a bit of edge to them on these things. Because something interesting might happen, It's like in the early days of this thing, Big Brother. Obviously, you guys over here know Big Brother, and it's big in the UK as well. It's UK version. It's got versions all over the world. But in the early days of Big Brother, it was good because you didn't know what was going to happen. But in the last couple of years of it, it's they need to do background. Yeah, I guess for legal liabilities, I suppose. But I guess it would be interesting. I guess because you don't get controversial people, really, do you anymore? But because I like to see that, you know what I mean? Because I mean, there is a question of people getting offended and things like that, but it's like I want to see how people live differently. You know what I mean? How differently, But there is a question of exploitation, like the show, some of the shows, Dr. Phil, and the UK equivalent, Jeremy Kyle, have clearly, used people's issues to make money from. So, but I'm glad you're here, Avery. You're our resident shrink in the chat. Do you think that you'll start doing lives again soon? I think you mentioned it the other week, I think, that you'd be doing them again. So it'd be nice to see you do them again.
Yeah, but it's so crazy, the world at the moment. But I guess I suppose I kind of like scandals like with Philip Schofield, because it shows to you that these people on TV who like these idiots idolize as being, oh yeah, Avery, yeah, that's who I was talking about. I was asking if you were going to be doing your lives again soon, because I always enjoyed going in there, and I know lots of other people did. Yeah, just forgive me. I'm smoking. Yes, I am, absolutely. That's great. I'm glad to hear. You know, because YouTube, obviously, I know full well it can get frustrating, and people can say things that aren't true about you, and cause you to get into all sorts of shit, and you can end up, doing things you don't mean and stuff like that. So I've learned to be extra careful, and which is a shame, because it should be like free reign, but there's always going to be people who want to jump on things you say and do, and like what I was discussing earlier with this crazy woman who was saying all this slanderous crap about me just because I wouldn't, see her in a certain way, and there's this woman, this older woman who I was in this old community with, and she was, I was like friends with her and close with her, and we shared things because we're both immigrants basically, and but then when I didn't want to, take it the way where she wanted to take it, she started saying a load of crap about me, essentially based around the fact that I'm into true crime and I'm also into paganism as well. So saying all the stereotypes that are said about people who are into that. So I'm sure you understand full well. It's like my motivation for being interested in true crime is ultimately to understand the motives of these people, so that we can better identify them and prevent these things. I'm not some person that glorifies killers. There's enough of that going on. Yes, it can. But I think our community that we have, the channels that we go to, is very good. I really do. I think it's very good, and I think honestly, because I don't see a lot of fighting amongst our group. It's like when I look in other corners of YouTube, I see far worse than I've been through. I've seen people who've had to leave their homes in the middle of the night with their kids, because they've had threats against them and their kids, and things like that, which I couldn't imagine, and it just shows you the level of insanity on this place, that people would actually go to those lengths, to intimidate someone. It's really a sad thing. But I'm going to put the link in the chat in case anyone would like to come up, because it can be a bit of an echo chamber at times. But I'm not going to be on for too long, because I know Melissa Jade will be live soon, so I don't want to take away from her. But it would be nice to be live for a little bit. Yeah, there's some serious people on this platform, but what I've noticed as of late is like the most like toxic of people, like Molly Golightly, for example. Thankfully, she's been turfed off this platform, because I'll tell you a story about Molly Golightly. I was in her chat once, being nice, totally being nice, and because I let slip that I was a pagan, she blocked me from the chat. And like shamed me and bashed me for my religion, essentially, and that's bigotry. You know what I mean? That is bigotry. Imagine if I like said, "Oh no, you can't come in the chat because you're Jewish or because you're Christian." You know what I mean? It's like I would never say that. This is for everyone. I don't give a shit what religion you are, or race, or sexual orientation. It doesn't matter to me. It really, really doesn't. I am very much of the type of person where you are what you are. You know what I mean? And if you're not hurting anyone, then who should have a problem with that? You never watch Molly? Yeah,
I stumbled upon her because I was investigating the Glee curse, but honestly, my investigations of that, I've just concluded that, you know, the reason people died in relation to the show Glee is these people had those problems that caused their deaths, mainly before they even did the show. Like Corey Monteith, who was like the star, he already had drug problems before he did Glee, so he kind of relapsed whilst he was on the show, which is expected because it was a massive show. I mean, I never watched it, but I know it was big. I remember when it was on, that when I was in high school when it was on, and it was big, you know, and everyone would talk about it and stuff. But obviously, it's not my type of thing. I am into music, obviously, but not that type of music, not like musical theatre, you know. And yeah, and the guy, the Puckerman, the guy who was found with the images of kids. Apparently, he'd been like a bit of a deviant for most of his life, so that's another problem. And Naya Rivera, her death was purely an accident. She drowned when she was out on a lake with her son. And thankfully her son lived. Yeah, so I don't think it's a curse. Although I do believe in those things, I do believe that they're real. I just think, yeah, I just think that they're just not as common as people would perceive them to be. Like exorcisms and possession and things like that, I believe in those things, but I just don't think that they're commonplace at all. I think 9 times out of 10 that it is mental illness and that they need help medically, and that it isn't a spiritual thing. But sometimes, like that rare occasion, there are instances and cases where I think that may have played a factor. Not that that excuses what the person did, not that it gives them a defense in my eyes, because, you can feel like you're being controlled by another force. And if I felt I was being controlled by something that wasn't me, I'd check myself right into a mental hospital, because that is dangerous, and that's scary as hell. I wouldn't want to live like that, so it's up to people, especially adults, and I think I've had this discussion with a few people. I think Chris Watts may have had some kind of possession, in him or something like that, because of just what he did. And people like that, who like Scott Peterson as well, who do like who murder those that they're supposed to love. You know what I mean? It's like that's like it's just I just can't understand that type of thinking. You know what I mean? It's like I can understand someone, killing someone in war, when they've got a gun in their hand, and that they'd be willing to kill you at the same time. I can understand that. Doesn't mean it's right though, and doesn't mean it should be celebrated in any way or encouraged, but I can understand that. But I just things like that just defy logic, and that's I guess why I come to those conclusions, because I guess I've seen things that I guess represent that energy. I guess I've seen manifestations of that in Ireland, and it's funny. I guess I saw those things in Ireland because I'm only ever really sober there when I'm in Ireland. You know what I mean? Because I don't like to smoke weed when I'm there, because it's against the law, and I don't want to upset my relatives who are there, who are older, and bring shame upon them in the local area and things like that, because they're very traditional and old fashioned people. So that's why, and I guess I had to be sober to see those things, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't believe them. I would dismiss it as being drunk or being stoned, and hallucinating. But I've never hallucinated when I've not been on hallucinatory drugs, So it's and when I'm sober, I don't see things, and it's not like I regularly see things like that. It was just that one night, where I've had other encounters, but nothing like that. Nothing where it's this all black figure, that looked cloaked, but it was just this dark void. You know what I mean? And it's well, yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's like the more I talk about it, the more I accept it. But at first, I couldn't even get my head around it, really. I guess I was up all night after I saw it and just thinking, wow, what does this mean for the nature of reality? You know what I mean? What does this mean for it? And I think that, as a result of that, I was like, hang on, there might be life after death here. I have a chance at something, you know what I mean? And whatever that thing I saw has something to do with that somehow, and that's the conclusions I drew from that. It's yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, I'm doing good. It's nice to see you in here. Yeah, I'm doing great actually. I was just recalling a tale of a very strange paranormal incident I had in Ireland, and it's funny. Like I live rather rurally here, but like I go out looking for things and stuff, but I never see anything. You know what I mean? It's like I'd love to tell you that I have, but around America, but I haven't. It's things pretty normal here for me. Because I came here thinking. I guess I picked the wrong state. I guess Massachusetts and that whole area, like where the first settlers came. I guess that place is where where New England is all haunted and stuff. As I hear a lot of stuff about that, so I guess I've got to make a trip there, and check out some haunted sites. It is a really interesting concept, I think, because it's just mad. Because I mean, there were instances near where I grew up. I mean, there was a famous instance in Widnes, which is not too far from where I grew up, which doesn't surprise me because that's where the Vikings one of the parts of where the Vikings settled in England. So they were very like spiritual people. So it doesn't surprise me that there was kind of paranormal activity around there. But there was a poltergeist incident around there where like a family kind of was turfed out the house because it was so mad. And but yeah, I've walked past that house and it just looks so normal that's the thing about it. It's like in reality, things like that, they don't look all scary. They look, seeing a UFO up close and filmed it with a Sony Handycam, and you can't see it, but I have two other witnesses who were standing there with me too. Yeah, I'm with you there because I tell you what, I have seen UFOs in this country. I've seen UFOs, a black triangle. Well, see, with me, it was a bright triangle. It was all light, but it was a triangle, and it was moving faster than anything we've got in terms of planes and jets and things like that, and stealth bombers and anything like that. It was so fast, but I was catching it, and it wasn't a shooting star or anything like that because I've seen them before. But I got a video of it, and I should post it on my channel. But it was crazy. It was traveling so fast, and I've seen other things like that, and honestly, it's I think it is aliens, and I think they're checking us out, and they've been checking us out for years, and they've been monitoring us since probably the Egyptians, and maybe even further back than that. Probably constantly giving us things, leaving a bit of technology behind to advance us, see what we do with it, type of thing, because if they've got the ability to, travel here and they've not invaded, then it must be for a reason, though. Because if they've got that kind of technology, then they could easily just take over the world. We wouldn't be able to. They've got planes and things and crafts that can go to the speed of light and cross galaxies. Then they could just take us, no problem. about it was in the Little Rock newspaper the next day, because it was photographed at the airport and it showed up in a Google search last time I checked. Wow, that's interesting. That is interesting. The incident I saw, I don't think was reported, but I think I talked to my neighbours about it, and they said that they did see a flashing light in the sky. They just thought it was a jet. Military jet, but there's no military bases near where I am, so that wouldn't make much sense. I'm not in the flight path of anywhere like that, so it was totally silent. Yeah, it was silent as well. I would have heard it if it was a jet. It's very strange. People say, because I've watched documentaries about this, that they have this element called Element 115, and that's what actually allows these crafts to travel at light speed, and that they've somehow manipulated this element and used it as fuel, and essentially that's helping them travel at those speeds. And what I wonder is, because they talk about this in the movie Paul, where it's like the alien in that movie looks how you'd think the aliens look, how they're portrayed to look, with those like large heads and big black beady eyes, and that small skinny bodies, and kind of a green skin. That's how I reckon they probably do look, because I reckon like the government have made those images so that if we do see one, we don't like have a heart attack, you know what I mean? So that we're kind of prepared for it, so that we can kind of comprehend it, because we've already seen an image of it. Whereas if you've seen something that you can't even comprehend, like what I saw in Ireland, for a moment I was like frozen in almost a catatonic state where I couldn't move, just like jaw just down, just like, what the hell am I looking at? I'm looking at something that, by using my logic, can't exist, doesn't exist, but I'm looking right at it. It's a marvelous thing, but it's also a very worry. It gets you anxious, and freaks you out, keeps you up at night. Personally, I think it was more likely a secret government project. Yes, because I have thought that myself, where they've reverse engineered crafts and just used them to test them. You know what I mean? And it's because like I said earlier about the technology, those stealth suits that the Chinese have, where it makes them look basically invisible. Soldiers basically look invisible when they put these stealth suits on. It basically conceals them. I think that's alien technology. I think that is part of that somehow, because that just doesn't seem like it could be made. That it's man made at all. It's like, it seems way too advanced for what we're dealing with. For what we have available. And it's like the rapid progression in technology from like 1950 to now. It's rapid from where things were then to now in people's lifetimes. That lots of people who were still alive, who were born then and born earlier than them. It's insane, the progress that's been made. And from that, I have to conclude that we've been helped somewhere along the line. I saw it, thousands of others saw it. Yeah, there were no fighter jets to be seen. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a very interesting concept, and I think now more than ever, people are more open to talking about it and admitting it and acknowledging it, because there's just so much damn proof because of the because of the internet. People can see it for themselves. And whereas in the past, they could just dismiss it as water balloons or as a jet or a plane or whatever. But you can see these things. They're clearly not what they're saying they are. So it's that creates that situation in and of itself, and it's crazy. To be a top secret type of craft, they reverse engineer. Absolutely, yeah, because there's been a multitude of crafts that have been allegedly crashed, like the Roswell incident in Roswell, New Mexico, and where they try to say it was an air balloon, which is ridiculous. I don't think an air balloon could do as much damage as they did, but yeah, I think that's where they initially got hold of Element 115,
and I think they probably pulled the carcass from an alien carcass from it as well. And they studied the body, and that's where the image of the aliens, where they're skinny and big heads, beady eyes, comes from, you know. And like I said earlier, they put it out so that if we saw it, we wouldn't have heart attacks, you know. And also so that it, the same way, so that it could give them a level of plausible deniability, because they're like, oh, they must have seen it in a comic book and hit their heads and had an illusion. It must have been all an illusion and a dream, you know. So they can say that, you know. But I'm waiting for the day where they just put it all out, because I know I have my theories as to why they don't, because I think it would upset religions like Christianity, Judaism, Islam. And I think that they like having those religions in place because it keeps people controlled. Personally, that is what I think. And I think, obviously, with my religious beliefs, it's very compatible with aliens existing, you know. There's always scramble fighters when there's an unidentified craft on the radar, yet there were none. So the answer is quite obvious. Exactly. And it's a very it's you know, the proof's there, you know what I mean. And I just wish the government would just put it out, you know, and silence it. When I grew up, there's a lad in my town, a young lad. He's older than me though, but he was young at the time. He was 10, I was 8 at the time, and he saw a UFO. He caught it on his phone, and it was hovering. Basically hovered for a while. It was a bright light similar to what I saw. Hovered for a while and then just shot off, just like at crazy speeds, you know. And it was very interesting. No, my religion is definitely a control mechanism. Yeah, yes. I think so, and so that's, I guess, the main reason why they don't want to put it out, because it disproves those, because they all say that we were all created in God's image. But then how would that explain an alien? You know, because they're not meant that. Surely, if they would be mentioned in the Bible, you know, that there are other species out there in other planets, you know, that God created, but it isn't mentioned. You know, it's mentioned that there is one planet, you know, and that we're the one people, basically. And but that just doesn't make, you know, because of what I've seen and just logically thinking about it. There's an infinite number of galaxies in this universe, and you know, so it makes zero sense. And even in our nearest galaxy, in Andromeda, which is where I think that the aliens that are, you know, flying the crafts, that have flown the crafts around in the past and crashed them, come from. I think it's the spiral end of the Andromeda galaxy, and because there's planets there, there's around 100 planets there that scientists have said could support life. Life meaning anything from bacteria and microbes to, like, you know, things like entities like us, you know, living, breathing organisms, you know, that can reproduce and things like that. So the odds are on our side. So I'm kind of spiritual, but I hate religion. Total brainwashing, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm the same. I am the same. You know, my spiritual journey is an interesting one, because I got interested in Scientology for a while, because I thought that they were like into all that sort of thing, but I learned that, like, all the stuff about past lives and that and aliens is all like, you actually pay them, and then you find out at the end that it's all a lie, that they don't actually believe in that. So that's a con. Thankfully, I figured that out through the internet before I actually paid them a load of money. So that was good. But they're a bunch of arseholes, to be honest. But there are other groups like the UFO groups that are really good, but you just got to stay away from the cults like Scientology and Heaven's Gate. You know, who you know, all the people who
castrated themselves. That Marshall Applewhite guy in California, it's sad about them because that guy, I think, had a lot of problems, personal problems. So I can understand why doing LSD or DMT isn't like. I agree very much. So I think that they're not drugs per se. I think that they're like religious artifacts that allow us to transcend our own consciousness, to path work with these kind of other entities in the world by some kind of collective. We're kind of tapping into some kind of collective universal consciousness when we take these things. And I agree, everyone should try it, and it would knock everyone's egos down a notch. I think everyone in Congress should bloody try it. I think it should be mandatory for everyone in politics to take those things, and maybe we'd have a better country and a better world. I really do. There'd be no wars, I'll tell you that. What I've always wondered is like aliens in terms of language, like would like I'm pretty sure that they'd all have like on a planet would have their distinct dialects and languages and things like that, and it wouldn't be one language. But I suppose you could say that they may have evolved to a point where they're all speaking one language and they all kind of look the same, because that's what they say. Like evolution will get to at some point. You can see the Matrix and see how fake manufactured society you're living in. Exactly. It's weird because everything looks cartoony when you're on like acid and stuff. Because and you can see that in an extended metaphor for that it's all fake. That everything's like that. Most things are fake. Most people are frauds. And that kind of breaks down the illusion for you. You kind of see things as they are, as you're meant to see them. And it's a very interesting substance. I remember the first time I took LSD, and it was a brilliant experience. It was during the day as well, which I admit was a better time to take it because it was sunny, the sun was out, and everything was nice. I just sat in the middle of the town centre on these benches with my friends, and none of them were on it. I was on it though, and I was just talking nonsense to them about what I was seeing and things like that. So it was good, but I've had times where it's been really intense, really intense hallucinations. But it's usually at night where it gets intense like that. During the day, I never get too mashed on it really. But it's a different type of high, I suppose. They both have their place. Yeah, I'm just rolling a joint. I could not. The amount of weed I smoke, it's ridiculous. So I guess they've helped me come off cigarettes. It's helped me come off cigarettes, so it's a good thing. Because I used to really like to smoke cigarettes and cigars, but I haven't done that in a while. But I get tempted to. People are programmed by the television. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't even watch television anymore. I mean, the thing is, in television, is there's too much like social engineering in it. Everything's got a message in it these days, and it's like I don't want to be preached to. You know what I mean? If I wanted to be preached to, I'd go to church. You know what I mean? I want to be entertained. Like all of her women getting the Jennifer Aniston haircuts, totally programmed women. Probably program women to be brainwashed by television show. Yeah, exactly. And that wasn't even like Jennifer Aniston's best haircut. You know what I mean? It's like I don't like women when they have short hair. It's like I like long hair on women. And it's
It's better, and Jennifer Aniston looks better with longer. I think all women do, to be honest. Yeah, hitting the ball. I know. Yeah, for some reason my pipe doesn't work properly. I loaded some in, and then I hit it, and it just wasn't burning. I was holding the hole at the side and then releasing it when I was smoking it. But when I exhaled, I mean, but it just wasn't burning down. I don't know what it was. Should I grind the weed down before I put it in? But then it wouldn't grind it down a little bit. I don't know. It's maybe it was the strain I was using. It wasn't as conducive to pipe smoking as others would be. Maybe it was a bit sticky. Yeah, that's what I think. I've got some hash on me as well. I've got about an eighth. I wouldn't say an eighth. About a half an ounce of hash. Yeah, and that's just for to keep around. When I want a different kind of high. And yeah, possibly days from being harvested and it's dank. Yeah. I home grow myself. I have one of those indoor home grow kits. There's kind of like they're they're like plastic covering on them and stuff. It's like a little room that you can walk in, and it's got insulation and stuff. So it's a good setup, and the yields from what I do, the turnaround's pretty good. I could get about 10 ounces from every yield, and it yields every 4 weeks usually. So that's a very good turnaround. I never run out, so that's good, and I always have enough to make edibles with. So. The Tangerine Dream is usually the strain I prefer, but I've been using this Purple Punch at the moment, and it's very nice. I like the smell of it. It smells great, and it's purple. I love the look of it. It smokes very well as well, and that's the main thing, is about how it burns down. I remember when I was a kid, and I was stuck buying skunk and cheese and all that crap, and it would never burn down well. It tasted horrible. It just wasn't a nice experience, but it was all you could get, so you put up with it. But obviously now things are very different, and back home where I come from, things have changed as well. Obviously, cannabis has become legal for medicinal use, but it's all a load of bollocking palaver to try and get hold of a license for it. It's a problem with the UK. They like to legislate and regulate everything to the max, and it makes everything a fucking pain in the ass for people. Still have some I grew almost 2 years ago, and I've given a lot away. Yeah. That's what you end up doing, though. That's the thing. You end up giving a lot of it away. It ends up putting it in jars and stuff, and it ends up just sitting around. Yeah, it's been a good live. I've enjoyed this open discussion. I've started doing them more now, and I just think it's been good for me. Yeah, overachiever, absolutely. Yeah, and I just wish oh, you've been saying some not nice things about me, Green Thing. So I don't know if we want you in here. Yeah. So no, I'm not going to be mean or anything, but She's not been saying some nice things about me. But that's just each to its own. But yeah, there's no beef. But I you know, I don't appreciate certain things being said. Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's all in the past. You know, I don't hold grudges, but it's like it's kind of like we've just had Nikki in talking about stuff, and so it can be annoying, you know. So it's fine though. It's all forgotten about, and I'm sure Green Thing will contact me and apologize and whatever. Yeah, neither have I. That's the thing. I haven't even been around the Slab City people in like 2 years, so it's been a while for me as well. So I don't really follow, but word got to me that certain things were said, so that's why. And I've heard them been said before, so that's just all I can conclude is that it's coming from the same person. So that's all. But I like to stay away from that. I like to keep that type of thing out of here. You know, that isn't what I'm on here for. You know, I try to stay away from that stuff. Yeah, she is nice, but I think sometimes she says things she doesn't mean, and they may get misinterpreted and stuff. But I'm sure I can work it out, you know, and we can come to some kind of agreement and solve things civilly and amicably, you know. But yeah, I'm going to get off now because a few other people are on who I watch, so I don't want to take away from them. So it's been a nice live, and I really appreciate Suicidal Porn Star and Avery and Clumsy and Misfit and Nikki and everyone and Connie and everyone for coming in. So I hope you all have a very nice afternoon, morning, evening, whatever. And Frank as well for coming as you were in here early. So I'd like to wish everyone a good day. Goodbye. And thank you for being in there, Suicidal Porn Star. I enjoyed our chat about UFOs. Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate it. And I'll be doing more lives. You know, I've been going live more frequently, so I'll be doing more lives more often, you know. So stay tuned for more and have a nice day. Goodbye.